Unfortunately, I was reading poetry a fortnight ago at Perera, and I realized at least one third of the audience there is here again, translocal reality. So, excuse if some of this is a repetition. Um, Quite straightforward, my reading. I have four pieces that I've been working on recently, and I'll just share them with you without much ado. The first poem I want to read, it's called Upon the Pain of Walking Out. One June, I walked out that door thinking that that was it, that I would not return there again. And as I walked down through the shadow of trees, I had already hardened myself not to think of what may well as pain. One June, as I walked out, I forgot whether my thoughts ran back to you. Maybe they did. That is how I at least remember that walk, but the heavy-hearted head, more than what I felt, not knew. It was as if limping through ruins of a town you once skated through. That was that June, and since I have been back many times and to breath receptive of life I have returned. But that one downward walk, I recall the stillness of the air and the afternoon sunlight sifting through leaves that watched me pretending that I hardly care. So whenever I return there since my one home, I'm reminded what life is upon the pain of walking out. That life perhaps is larger than what we at a moment may feel, but as to where life is not, to have much doubt. So, applause, please. Thank you. The second poem, a bit of background. It's called Estranged Cousins. A bit of background because I don't know, about 6, 7, 8 years back, one of my I don't know what the exact relationship is. I think he's one of my mother's cousins. He banned his children from talking to me after reading something I had written. Those kids were banned from talking to me. They were quite young. Maybe there were two, a girl who was about 10 and a son who was about 6, 7. They were quite steadily cordoned off, kept away from me. And a few months back, many years later, idling at night without too much to do, I was on social media, Facebook. So suddenly, my memory went back to time spent with these kids before they were banned from me. And suddenly, I wanted to check out what had happened to them because no contact for about 8 years. So I just searched them on Facebook, and I came across the profile of the elder child, the girl. Doing pretty well apparently, an accountant and all that. And this poem called Estranged Cousins is stimulated by that encounter. I still believe it must be something else, but the joke is, he read some book I'd written, for he banned his kids from talking to me, who, as if the kitchen mortar I eaten, did just that. Stopped from talking to me. The daughter was 12, the son was 8, and 2015 may be a decade too late. But I'm curious, as nature has made my brain cells be, that these two cousins I search on Facebook through technology. To be a doctor, she wanted, was high on physics, astronomy. As a teen chauffeured about, she once said that she wants to give back to society, and it is as a doctor she wanted her dues be paid. The son was what at 8 such a son can be. He looked like his father, a mother's skin tone, and I've seen them together, a Dr. Evil and a kind of mini-me. Then they stopped talking the next time we met. He would giggle but not speak. The girl's face was set. In the search bar comes her name. 10 years is as long a time as time can get, and she beams through her profile, that once teen face unset. An accountant, apparently, posing against the sunset. A faint trace of the child I once knew somewhere there, half hidden. Few photos and a post. Security is generally tight. And as I drag the cursor further up to the right, this is where you have that, add friend prompt, right? Few photos and a post. Security is generally tight. And as I drag the cursor further up to the right, she's disabled the function to receive requests. An accountant knows how to balance it best, almost as if they saw me. A decade from then, a few books later, and now a certified pest, making this move on a night given to relatives that may have mattered among other relatives I sincerely wish would die or are dead. Sigh. No request option that way instead. Two relatively short ones to round up. One is called The Actual Breaking Up. In the end, the actual breaking up is not by the least justified, by the strain that precedes and the pain which the mere thought of it breeds. Like a drop that slides down your thigh, or the first thunder that marks the end of a wait, or the loosening that relaxes the constipate, or the first caressing tear to leave your eye. Breakup is a calculated summoning and release of force, like loving, longing, and possessing. A graceful release and a withdrawal of which only the desperate and the loved one knows. And the last item, his love for his lover. According to what he told me, provided that he told me true, for him, her pain is his. Her hurt, like a needle catching him unawares, carves a bloodless path his tissues through. He tells me he loves. In those words we in everyday usage use, for him there is his own life, world, mundane ambitions. And between those ambitions, those dreams and this girl, almost very little in choice to choose. And do I love too, he asks. He, who by what I just said, has pushed the bar that high, smashed the ball to the furthest edge, he asks. My answer is ready-made, but I hold back a while, and I search whether he has strength. I search his eye. And I, who seldom speak of love, who the world has pronounced incapable of it, I tell him that I do, but that it, in strength, is not as powerful as his, or as potent as to write excess poetry, but good enough if she lets her hurt be mine. Thank you.